Brought to you by Square. Your favorite neighborhood spots are using Square to do everything from covering cash flow gaps to expanding to new locations. Wherever your business is growing, Square meets you there.
Hi, I'm Josh Christensen, executive producer of Inc. Podcasts, and today we have another edition of Expert Exchange, presented by Principal. Today you're going to hear a conversation between Lauren Asghari, founder and president of Alderson Loop, and Jose Herrera, the CEO and co-founder of Horatio. They talk about how being transparent about mistakes and challenges builds trust and keeps culture intact. All right, here's that conversation.
My biggest fear is that the culture changes to something that we're not proud of. And, every morning I wake up and I want to be proud of the culture that we built. And if that is not the case, then I don't want to, work with what we have. I want to make sure that we innovate and we change as we grow, but that the culture stays intact.
So growing a business is tough. Starting a business is tough. And as much as us as founders and entrepreneurs would like to be perfect people, we are imperfect and certainly make mistakes along the way. How do you think about mistakes with your employees? I think a challenge that some founders or entrepreneurs have is, as the founder, they should have all the answers, right? And they shouldn't mess up. And
when you run a small business, every decision matters, including who you bank with. At Chase for Business, we offer flexible solutions, from banking and payment acceptance to credit cards and local support, to help you go far. Whether you're just starting out or planning to scale up, we're here every step of the way. Check out chase.com/business to learn more about how Chase for Business is supporting small business owners just like you.
When they do, what do they want to share with their team and say, hey, that was my fault, or, I made that error?
I think that when building your team and when having the initial interviews with your new teammates, it's very important to communicate to them what your vision for the company is as a founder, what it takes to be successful in your company up front. Because a lot of people come from the corporate world where they're used to a 9-to-5. And as you know, startup world is not 9-to-5. And so you need to have a team that can adapt to different circumstances. My motto is keep calm and carry on, because every day there's a fire and you have to know how to manage those fires accordingly. And if you don't have the right team in place, then that's when disappointment happens. And that's when they start judging you as a leader because you were not upfront with them and you were not open enough to tell them, hey, this is what it takes to be successful at this company, right? And I think it's very important to be an open book. And that is something that has worked for me. And I think that it is something that I am proud of because, initially when I started the company with my teammates, I was not that open. And I think nowadays I'm more open, communicative, because a lot of the feedback that we got early on is the executives are not that open. They're not providing feedback. They're keeping it to their chest. And I think it's very important to have that open line of communication with your teammates so that they align with your vision and with your values.
I think of it as also bringing them, depending on what the level of problem is, right? I mean, you don't want to just put anxiety on other people necessarily as the owner, but in my experience, it's been beneficial for their growth also. And sometimes they have good ideas and good input on how to help solve them, right? Or maybe they've seen it through a different lens that you didn't necessarily think of from your seat. Because obviously, as the owner of the company, you're looking at the business as a whole and maybe not necessarily through specific lens of people that are doing the job day to day. So I've found bringing people into the problems and sharing, I made this error, I made this mistake, this is what the business reason for what we're trying to accomplish. What do you think about it? Has actually been helpful.